Maybe you've got the degree, the boot camp, some experience, and maybe even a few side projects of your own. And still, no callbacks. Welcome to entry level hell. But why is it so hard to land that starter job in tech in 2025? Well, in this video, we're going to explore exactly that. And I think I have a little bit of authority on the topic because I've been a data analyst for the last 3 years. So let's get into it. At one point in time, entry level meant that you were just getting out of college, or you had very little experience, and this was your foot in the door. Nowadays, entry level doesn't seem like that. I've seen countless examples of inflated requirements, things like years of experience for somebody that really should have just been graduating college, knowledge of niche tools, advanced degrees like doctorate degrees in statistics to become an entry-level data analyst or something along those lines, and I've seen countless examples of this across different industries. Nowadays, it sure seems like the companies are using the entry-level tag to save some money and get mid-level talent for junior pay. I mean, speaking from personal experience, my entry-level job, the only reason I was really able to get the job that I got was because I was an intern at the same company that I got hired at. Typically, they hire only candidates with master's degrees. So obviously now it seems like entry-level really isn't entry-level anymore. Not only this, when it comes to something like data analysis or coding, there's an explosion of boot camps, online courses, and self-taught devs or data analysts. This only makes the issue more prevalent and harder for these types of roles. While I think it's great that somebody could not have a data analyst or coding background, can learn those skills in the matter of 3 months for relatively cheap without having to go through a 4-year college degree, it also creates this wave of people who have the exact same skills. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing for the industry if just everybody is coming in with the exact same thing. Not only this, it leads to a crowded applicant pool where everybody looks qualified. And I say looks qualified with a slight air quote, because I think there's a lot more going into these roles than just having the hard technical skills of being a data analyst, or a programmer for that matter. So in my opinion, what this does is it causes the need for these people to not only have the experience with their technical skills, but then they also have to have a GitHub with countless projects on it. They have to have a portfolio that's filled to the brim with different applications of all the things they've learned. Well, I personally recommend this to most people. I don't think it was always this way. If you had the skills, if you had some experience, maybe you've done one project for school or you did one as an internship, maybe you put that on there and maybe that helps you get the job. But now it seems like if you don't have a fully stacked portfolio with crazy experience and you were an intern at Google, you're not going to be able to get a job at your local McDonald's. Not only this, with things going that direction, oftentimes they want some kind of experience that really isn't realistic for an entry-level job. How can you have 3 to 5 years experience if you're looking at entry-level jobs? Everybody's seen this before, though. This is nothing new. But in this video today, I do want to go over some strategies on maybe how you can beat this job market in 2025. And so let's go over exactly that. One of the ways is business context over technical skill. This is an important one because I think a lot of people are looking for somebody they can plug and play right into their company. And while they have countless applicants who are undoubtedly going to have the raw technical skills to be able to compete in the job, having some kind of business context or background in the industry that the job is in is almost more important sometimes than the raw skills. Coming from somebody who works in health insurance, if somebody were to be applying for the job that I have and they had just as much skill as me or just as much skill as some of the other analysts on the team, with absolutely zero know-how of health insurance, it still might take them 1 to 2 years just to get used to the new terms that health insurance companies use. And even longer, because I've worked there for 3 years and I don't even understand all of them. All of the different policies and products that a health insurance, or any insurance company for that matter, might offer. So if you have somebody coming over from a different health insurance company, they already understand the lingo. They already know what the deal is. They know, at least generally speaking, what kind of products a health insurance company might offer. They also know what health insurance companies' core business models are. They know how a health insurance company makes money, which means they can help a health insurance company make money. It's pretty simple when you think about it, but it's really important. So, how can you apply this to yourself? Well, do you have any experience outside of the raw skills that you've learned to get the job that you want? First of all, if you haven't learned the raw skills, you probably should. But outside of that, what else can you add on your resume? This might also serve as a good filter of which jobs you should be applying to. Let's say you have experience in a research position dealing with manufacturing. Maybe you should start with manufacturing programming or data analyst or whatever tech job you're looking at. Start with the manufacturing ones. Maybe if you see a great job and there's not a lot of applicants in there or something like that, sure, apply to some other one. But start with the manufacturing. They're going to like that you already have experience in that industry. You've been inside a manufacturing plant. Anyways, look in an area where you already have some experience or you know some things about the industry. Maybe it's just as simple as you're a huge football fan. You're applying for a data analyst position for a football team. Let's say, yeah, I already know, some of the formations. I know blah, blah, blah. I did a self-project on, red zone trips by the Detroit Lions, and I'm applying for a position with the Detroit Lions as a data analyst. That kind of thing helps. It helps a ton. Just going in blindly with just the raw skills, not the greatest idea, because 1,000 other people down the block from you have those same skills. So it doesn't really separate you. You need something to separate you as a good candidate. And it can't just be that you're handsome. So along the same lines, building out soft skills like communication can definitely help you get that first job. I mean this kind of twofold. One is that communicating well in an interview is going to help get you a job. No shit, Sherlock. But the second one is communicating outside of a work setting. I know friends who have met people in random places and got job offers that way. Just by talking to somebody, just by talking about somebody, about what they do, how long they've done something, what they went to school for. They can talk about things. And anybody that you meet could be a potential employer opportunity. And while it hasn't happened to me with tech, it definitely happened to me with things like restaurant service or things like that. It's definitely possible. But it also requires that you get out of your bedroom, get off the Xbox, and go out and talk to people. Go shadow out a job. Go ask people if you can sit with them for half a day while they do their work. These are questions that maybe seem awkward to you to ask, but it's definitely a way to help you get your foot in the door or get you that first position. Or at least get to know people who do have that first position. You can ask them questions. You can maybe have them look at your resume, help them polish it up. Just talking to people in the industry or in that line of work is going to help get you in the right mindset to find that first role. Now, finally, one last way that you can get over this type of entry-level hell is considering adjacent roles. Sometimes the most competitive roles are for the ones that are most attractive. Things like data science, things like Python programmer, or whatever else it might be in the programming world that people are excited about. Consider adjacent roles. Maybe a support analyst where you are doing data analysis, but you're really doing it on different type of tech tools that your company might be using to determine whether or not they need updated or whether or not they're able to be updated. Maybe this might be called like a software testing role. Or if you're a programmer, maybe you're going more down a QA testing approach where you're, once the developers create a product, maybe you're the one testing it to make sure it works and making sure the code makes sense in that way. Now, sure, it might not be doing exactly what you'd like to be doing. But if you can pair that kind of experience with also the raw skills that it takes to be the actual programmer or the actual analyst doing the work, that is definitely a way that you can get that role in the future. In fact, it might actually make you more of an attractive candidate than somebody who is stellar at the raw skills just used to get the job in the first place. Which goes back to my first point. If you have some experience in a field, use that to your advantage. Because if you're a QA tester, for example, for a health insurance company, I bet you know a hell of a lot more about health insurance than somebody off the street with coding chops. So keep that in mind. This is the advice I always give people. Look in adjacent industries. Don't feel pigeonholed just to look into the one type of role that you want, because there's a lot of different roles that might meet that criteria or line of work. So keep your mind open, explore a bit. And if you want to see exactly how to explore for adjacent roles or types of roles that you can find, check this video out next because I think it's going to be really helpful in your job search. But hey, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.